History Teachings, and welcome to episode number 22, predictions for the rest of 2022, part 1, the storm. I say part 1 because there will be part 2, obviously, maybe part 3 as well. I didn't figure it out properly, but let's talk about the storm, because the storm is here. This is part 1, and before I do anything, I'd like to tell you a couple of things as kind of a disclaimer, if you like. So first of all, I'm not here to convince anyone about anything. That's very important. Secondly, I'm not here to prove again and again and again all those things that I mentioned in previous videos, or I posted about them, you know, on my Facebook, on my Instagram, or wherever you watch this. If you follow me, you probably seen my posts previously and you know what I'm talking about. So I'm not here to prove anything again. I'm not here to give explanations for certain things again that I did before, just to save the time. And mainly, most importantly, I'm not here to scare anyone, okay? I'm gonna give you some predictions, which are my predictions. That's entirely my opinion. And it might sound scary a little bit. There will be a couple of things that you will think, oh my gosh, if it happens, then okay, it's scary. But this is why we have part 2, which will be the next episode or the next video, which will be full of good news and solutions and all those things, basically the happy ending for all of us. So we don't need to worry, but there are some predictions which I want to tell you, I'd like to talk about. And to be honest, guys, I was hesitating a little bit about this type of video or this title, if I should do this. I mean, I have lots of other live ideas or video ideas, but I really wanted to do this one. But I was hesitating a bit. Should I mention these things or not, or what to do with this entire thing? And then I was thinking, why not, right? So we are here. So as I said, I'm not here to convince you, not here to scare you with anything, because I'm gonna give you some good news, I'm gonna give you some solutions. So this is very important right at the beginning. So what we're gonna do in today's video, in part 1, first of all, we're gonna talk about how to predict the future. How can we do that? Yeah, that's a good question. And then we will talk about some recent news, just really a couple of them that happened recently in the last couple of days or weeks or months, because they look like random events and they're just happening randomly all around the world. But they are not random. They are part of the same story, which I'm going to mention later. And after that, I will give you how many, I have some notes here, 15, 16 different predictions. And then after that, we will continue in part 2, which I'm gonna mention later. So, you know, guys, we live in a world so fake that the truth actually scares people. And I think it's turning around. It's getting kind of upside down, and more people are awakening, more and more people are awake and aware of what's really going on, and the number of these people are just growing every single day. If I just think about my personal conversations in my daily life, wow, compared to last year, compared to 2 years ago, a lot of people can see what's really going on. So, but a lot of people still cannot see what's going on, but it will change. As I said, the next episode, part 2, will be called The Great Awakening. So we will talk about all that later. And one more thing before we start. If during this video, during this live, whether you watch this live or on the replay, welcome, first of all. If you have any questions, if you don't understand something, if you need proof for something, if you need further explanation for something, then I could recommend my channel and my previous videos. Check them out, especially if I can give you some recommendations. That would be, there was a video called What's Cognitive Dissonance and why you should know about its 3 stages or something like that. But the cognitive dissonance video, that's important. And also the How the 1% Can Control the World, part 1 and part 2. Part 1 is all about the bad guys. Part 2 is all about the good guys. Are there good guys? Yes, because I was talking about in 1 hour. in that video. So that's how the 1% can control the world, part 1 and 2. And the War versus Peace, What's Coming video, which if you check on YouTube, that's a cut version because of censorship. If you go to Bitchute, which is bitchute.com/mystery teachings, you will find the original version of that video, and I hope it will help, and I hope it will give you some good explanations. With that being said, let's begin. So first, how can we predict the future? Well, we cannot. That would be the first answer. So I'm not, the great grandson of Nostradamus or whoever who could predict the future. So it's not about that, but it's not very difficult to predict if you know what's gonna happen because it's all planned. That's the whole point here. It's all planned. And the number one thing, or the very first one, which helps us to predict the future is a book written in 1989 called The New World Order. You can check it out on Amazon, you can order it, and this is everything, basically. This is the whole point here, the New World Order, the Great Reset as they call it, Klaus Schwab and the World Economic Forum and all the others. Basically what they do, they have a plan for us. Or some of them call it Agenda 2030, so it doesn't really matter. It's a very sinister scenario, and they believe they can make it happen, but we believe they will not, because we are awakening more and more and more, and lots of things happening in the world as well. Just think about what happened a few hours ago in the UK, if you watch this live. If not, I'm telling you, this is 8th of September 2022, and then you probably know what happened, but I will mention that later, and then we will discuss that a little bit as well. So the book New World Order, another book written by Klaus Schwab himself, called The Great Reset. That's another one. If you read it, you can clearly see where we are in their scenario right now, here in September. And then we have another one, I'm just checking my notes. Bill Gates wrote a book a couple of months ago called The Next Pandemic. I mean, how does he know? You can only know it if you plan it, I guess so. And he had some videos where he said, oh, but the next one will be more serious, all that stuff. I will mention that later at the prediction, but that's another tool to predict something. And then what else? There is this book, which I actually have, George Orwell, 1984. I don't know how much you can see it. Yeah, hopefully you can. Anyway, this is George Orwell, 1984. I really recommend either the book or the movie. Check it out. You will understand a lot of things that happened, especially in the last 2 years. And then what else? I would say David Icke, because he's the man who was ridiculed, for many, many decades, basically. And then if you think about the last couple of years, his books are bestsellers. He's getting invitations literally everywhere in the world, radio shows, TV shows, events, everything, to speak and to, help people understand what's really going on. And he just recently had a really, really good interview on London Real with Brian Rose, so that's londonreal.tv, feel free to check it out. I can't remember what the title was, but it's a long interview. I think it's more than 2 hours or nearly 3 hours, and it was last week or 2 weeks ago, so really, really up to date and really new one. I highly recommend to watch that video. And basically what David Icke said, that know the outcome and you will see the journey. And you will not see like these are random events or whatever, because you know exactly step by step why those things happening, what's happening, because you know the outcome. And if we know the outcome, which I just mentioned, then it's not very difficult to predict. But I'm here to tell you, and this is why I'm mainly here, to give you some solutions for this, some preparation. What can we individually do? What can you do? What can we as a team do? I mean, if we call ourselves a team, the entire humanity, we the people. So I'd like to give you some hope, some solutions, some ideas to prepare, not just physically, but mentally as well, spiritually as well. So and then you don't need to panic. That's super important. Do not panic. You don't need to, but there will be some events that will happen because they have to happen, okay? But let's move on. So David Icke, and then the other one is the documentary called Fall of the Cabal. The Fall of Cabal documentary, I mentioned it many, many times. If you haven't seen it, check it out. It's 10 episodes. 8 episodes is basically all the bad things and all the bad guys. And the last 2 episodes is all about good news. And as I said at the beginning, I'm not here to convince you about anything. I'm not asking you to believe anything. But that's a good one. I mean, if you haven't seen The Fall of Cabal by this time, then that should be your number one documentary series to check it out. It's altogether roughly 3 hours. You will love it, I promise. And then what else? Yeah, obviously the Q drops, which if you haven't seen Fall of Cabal or you don't know about the Q story, or as the media says, the QAnon story, I'm not going into details now because I made a video about it. As I said, how the 1% can control the world. That was part 2, the good side. I explained the entire Q story there. But basically Q is a military intelligence, military intel, military operation, whatever you want to call it. High positions we talk about, and he has certain drops or posts or crumbs or anything, let's call them Q drops, since 2017 up until today, and they tell a lot basically. That's all, but I don't go into more details now because I want to save some time for you, and as I said, you can see it in those videos. And then what else? I would mention an interesting thing that helps you to predict the future, not just the future, but helps you with your present. And that's some of your chakras, some of our chakras, our energy body. You know, we have 7, I guess you know that. And I would say the top 2, the 6th and 7th chakra. The 6th one is the third eye chakra, and the 7th, the highest one, is the crown chakra. And basically the third eye is responsible for everything that's about your intuition, feeling certain emotions about certain things, people, events, situations, locations, anything. So it's all about intuition, and it also helps you to identify if someone is fake, someone is real, someone is lying, someone is telling you the truth. So it's super important. And the other one is the crown chakra, which is all about your connection to your higher self, your spirit guide, if you like, the universe, your angels, your higher self. You can call it God if you want, doesn't really matter, but to connect to this higher guidance, this higher source of power, or this higher level of consciousness, advanced consciousness, basically, which is there for you and it's available to guide you through your everyday life, thanks to your crown chakra, which is super important. But more about the chakras in another video next time. I'm just mentioning that focus on these chakras, heal them, meditate. You do meditations for these 2 chakras, and that will help a lot. And then the other thing, the last thing is to predict the future, is the art of war. I don't know how many of you heard about it or read it, but basically the art of war is what it says. And I'd like to read you quickly a small part of it, which is called the 10 Rules of War. Now, here we go. Listen, guys, carefully. And just think about it, what's going on in the world today, okay? So, Art of War, 10 Rules of War. Number 1, cut off supply chains. Gas, electricity, all that stuff. Number 2, heat fuel lines. Number 3, destroy wealth. Number 4, disarm citizens. Number 5, affect transportation. Number 6, silence important communications. Censorship, fact checkers, sounds familiar? Number 7, listen to this, create diseases. Probably don't even have to go further with that. Number 8, cause strife and divisions. You know, with other words, divide and conquer. Although those strategies, they still do it and it still works for them. I mean, with those who allow them, you know, to cause these type of strife and division. But yeah, it's just interesting. Number 9, insert lies, confusion and propaganda. Good morning. And number 10, make yourself look like the savior. So interesting, art of war, 10 rules of war. Anyway, let's move on. So these are our tools to predict the future, and just a couple of news recently. I'm really just mentioning it from here, from my paper, from my notes. But basically the point here, guys, is that we know that they are lying. They know that they are lying, and they know that we know that they are lying. And we know they know that we know that they are lying, and still they continue to lie. For how long? Let's see. I don't give much time to them, by the way. That's why I have these predictions for the rest of 2022. Maybe a little bit for the beginning of 2023, but mainly this year. So some recent news. Have you heard about the Georgia Guidestones? What happened to them? That was the one that started with the message, maintain humanity under 500 million and keep it on that level, something like that. That was the very first one, kind of depopulation idea on the Georgia Guidestones. So it was boom. Recently it was blown up and it's gone. You can search for it. It was in the news not long ago. I posted about it as well. And now here in the UK we have a new Prime Minister who is, just make it short really, she's a World Economic Forum puppet. So we're not very lucky with her, but it's alright. And then a couple of weeks ago, Joe Biden had COVID twice. And then his husband, Jill, had COVID twice. And both of them are vaccinated. I don't even know how many times, but they had COVID. That's an interesting one. And also regarding the jabs and, you know, all these COVID vaccines and all that stuff, we have recently all these sudden deaths. We have these airport crises, no, you know, stuff available. If you are in the UK, you can see how the NHS works right now. So there are like months of waiting times and waiting lines. So it's crazy. And apart from that, we have these, what was it, sudden death syndrome, and we have this whatever heart. I can't even remember what names they give to that, but basically you can see that people are randomly dying, even athletes as well, strong people, young people, even children, just dying suddenly all around the world. I'm wondering when we will ask the right questions. What's the cause of these deaths? And you know, the truth about the jabs is coming out. It will come out, and I will talk about that a little bit later, as I said, in the predictions. In the meantime, my laptop just lives its own life, but that's fine. And as always, if you have anything to say about this topic, feel free to comment below whether you watch this live or you watch this on replay. So back to some recent news. Sudden deaths, some pedophile news as well. As you know, Ghislaine Maxwell, who is Jeffrey Epstein's really good friend, let's put it this way, she got, I think, 20 years of jail, and she gave some names to the police or whoever, police or court, or doesn't matter. She gave some information to them, and that will come out, I believe. The other one, which wasn't mainstream, but if you haven't heard it, make sure you check it out. R. Kelly, the singer, he's got 30 years in jail. He's already in jail. He believed he can fly, that guy, for pedophilia, child sex offenses and all that stuff. Quite disgusting, in my opinion. But anyway, and Prince Andrew, we heard something about him as well. Anyway, and then we have the Dutch farmers. You heard about them, that they are protesting like crazy. I talk about it in the predictions. Why? And also the big protests worldwide. It still goes, it still continues. There are some in London. I just posted recently about Prague, that was last weekend, and many other countries as well. And then you heard about the FBI raided, he went to Trump's house, basically, and I'm sure you heard about it, that the FBI visited Trump recently, and they took away some stuff from him, which will be probably important in the very near future. And then we have monkeypox, which is, Jesus Christ, I don't even know what to say about that. I hope you guys don't buy this bullshit at this time, that's all I'm saying. And then obviously we have Russia, Ukraine, all of that. And then we have gas and electricity and fuel prices and food prices. And we had some nice days, so we had the climate crisis. So, you know, can you see how we have crisis after crisis after crisis after crisis? Basically, you know, food crisis, gas crisis, electricity crisis, what do they call it? Cost of living crisis. All of these things, crisis after crisis, because it's all planned and they played out one by one. But there are some good guys as well, that's why we don't need to panic. So, and then the very last one was a tweet from Elon Musk a couple of days ago. He said that he doesn't think that it's a good idea to buy Twitter if we go into World War III. So are we in World War III? I mean, some of us posted about this or was talking about this last year, even 2 years ago, that it basically just started with COVID, not even with COVID, because it's a much longer story. I mean, as I said, the book, The New World Order, it was written in 1989, and but it goes back much further. Anyway, so these are some recent news which are not random events, they are all connected, and I told you how can we predict the future, so let's do it. I give you some predictions using this pen, for example, and number one will be more pandemic. As I said, I don't know, or I can put this little L here. I don't know if it's monkeypox, I don't know if it's bird flu, they talk about bird flu as well, or something else that recently kills animals, and helps with, you know, less and less food, helps them with less and less food production, all that stuff, I don't know, but pandemic, we still have some, so if you believe it's over, well, I'm not sure. By the way, just a simple question, where is COVID? Can anyone tell me? Can anyone see it? Where is COVID right now? We don't hear about COVID for ages. Just asking for a friend, really. Omicron, maybe Omicron will be the next pandemic, I don't know. But yeah, definitely pandemic. Number two, food shortages. It's coming, guys. It's coming. And, you know, just as we mentioned, when I say we, you know, we the crazy ones or whatever you want to call it, I would say we the awakened people, and there are many of us, so I'm sure that at least half of the people who watch these videos are awake and they know about this. But yeah, food shortages, and what I was gonna say, we mentioned the fuel shortages which was in the UK a few months ago, that it was planned. We knew it. This is a similar one. I don't know when it's gonna happen, probably very soon. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it would be this month or maybe next month. And how long it's gonna take, I don't know, but there will be empty supermarkets. So it's time to stock up some stuff, at least for 2 weeks, let's say. Just make sure you have enough food at home, because that will be, oh, sorry, just had my dinner, maybe it wasn't a good idea to eat before doing a video, but yeah. So, food shortages, it will come, I don't know how long it takes, I don't know when exactly, but I believe it will happen. Number three, and I just wrote here Biden and Trump, and what I really mean here is the 2020 election. I mean, I know it's not in the mainstream still, but there are huge amount of evidence for that. And as I said, you know, I'm not here to convince anyone, I'm not against you, I'm your friend, and I love you all, especially if you watch my videos, then I definitely appreciate you. So, you know, I think we don't need to agree with everything. But this is my opinion. So, sorry, but not sorry, I still love you, but Trump won the election, and I think the result will come out soon, and probably it will change a lot of things. And then next one, which also comes from Q, because Q mentioned the first arrest. And he said that, I just put here Q. And he said, he or them, I don't know, he said that the first arrest will shock the world. Now, who will be the first famous whoever that will be arrested and everyone will know about it? I can't tell you, but I have some ideas. It might be either Biden, it might be Hillary Clinton, it might be Obama. You know, there are some ideas, but definitely, or even Bill Gates or Dr. Anthony Fauci, some possible options as well. But I could even say that after this FBI story, what a nice brackets I wrote here, or I drawn here. Let's just do it again. So I can even imagine that they go a bit further and they will arrest Trump. I can even imagine that. Obviously not because he did anything, and you will all see that he's still clear and he's still a good guy. And again, sorry but not sorry, just my opinion. So, first arrest, I don't know, but it will be interesting to see who will be. And then number 5, which not really a prediction, because operation, because it just happened a few hours before I went live, but it was on my list, so I mentioned Operation London Bridge, the announcement of the death of Her Majesty the Queen Elizabeth II, which has just happened a few hours ago here in the UK. So check out what Operation London Bridge is really about, but it's basically the protocol that happening right now, because as I said, it just happened a few hours ago. So Operation London Bridge, check it out. There will be some interesting stuff that you will find, because it's just coming in the next few days or weeks. We don't know. And another interesting fact about this, that, you know, today is 8th of September, 8th of September 2022, and the very first Q drop appeared, the very first one, that was 28th of October 2017. Now, if you go on Google and if you type in something like number of days between dates or something like that, you will find some calculators. And if you check the difference between these two dates, that will be, look at this coincidence, 1776 days between these two dates. The very first Q drop and the announcement of the Queen's death. 1776 days difference. I mean, if that's not a goosebump coincidence for you, I don't know what. And obviously what happened in 1776 in the United States, July 4th, you all know that. So that's interesting, but it's not really prediction, because as I said, it's already happened. So, you know, you can just do it like this. And I don't go into further about the Queen or the royal family or anything, because we will see it. Next one, number 6, blackouts. Blackouts. Guys, don't be surprised if in the next few weeks or months, throughout the autumn or the early winter, if there are blackouts. It can be power cut, so electricity blackout, it can be internet blackout, it can be anything really. Again, don't panic, because if you see these things, that means something else happens in the background, and the good guys are working in the background really hard. So just don't worry about it. But as I said, tomorrow will be more about solutions and ideas, so just bear with me and make sure you watch the next video, which will be part 2, because I will give you some tips about the blackouts as well. But it might happen, or even they just say that, oh, there was a solar flash. I already heard about that as well, and you know, the sun is just behaving weirdly nowadays, and that might cause some blackouts as well. And in the meantime, I think in California, or I think it was California, where they already declared the level whatever number emergency, and they said that, you know, make sure you use only the necessary amount of electricity to avoid blackouts. So it's already, they already talk about that. And then next one, I wrote here China, Taiwan, but I don't even write it down because it's getting more and more obvious. I posted about it on my Facebook profile last June, 2021 June, that, you know, China and Taiwan, they have some conflicts anyway, or like what else China will do, I don't know, but you can expect something, so I just don't write it down. And then the next one is, where to continue, let's say just here, nuclear, this is a crazy one, nuclear war or nuclear strike. Now, obviously, that's blamed on Putin and Russia. Maybe it will be something like something will happen in Ukraine, or maybe some accident. I don't know. I cannot believe for a second that anyone will drop a nuclear bomb anywhere. And simply just common sense, if that makes sense. Or we are in 21st century. We are in 2022. So this is something that, it not just happens randomly, let's put it this way. So I don't think it's gonna happen, but there will be news about it. And there will be maybe emergency broadcast systems. I just put here that as well. EBS, emergency broadcast system. I have one on my computer that was already recorded by BBC, like a 4 minutes emergency broadcast. But yeah, maybe I will put together some of these videos and pictures and stuff I have recently, and maybe that will be part 3. That's why I said that might be part 3. I didn't decide it yet. Anyway, what else? So nuclear, this is probably the last bit of the whole thing. So whatever will happen, I would expect this as a very last thing, and then we cannot go anywhere, and there will be martial law, and you will see military and soldiers everywhere around the world. I'm talking about worldwide, obviously, not just UK or other countries. But when martial law is activated and soldiers are everywhere, that's a good thing, because military is with us. Military is full of good people and amazing people, and that's a good thing. That's why I say this, just repeat myself, there's no reason to panic. And then next one, number 8, financial crash or economic collapse. Financial, let's call it crash, collapse, doesn't matter, right? Financial crash. I expect that they say that, the economy is just gone. Something similar that happened in 2008. And if you think about it, they pretty much prepare everything for that. Start with COVID, and now with all these prices and food and fuel and gas and electricity and Russia, Ukraine and all that stuff. So as I said, they really want this to happen. Now, what else? Number 9, let's put it here. This will be a bit a short one from me, crypto. Because I'm not a crypto expert, and I know there are lots of different opinions about this. Obviously, experts say that, buy Bitcoin. Someone say don't buy Bitcoin. Someone say buy gold and silver. I agree with that. Buy gold and silver if you can. My prediction is very short. I'm not giving explanations about that, but I would expect that Bitcoin will crash. And you can laugh, you can agree, you can disagree. I think Bitcoin will go down to 0, and what I believe is gonna skyrocket, that's XRP. And if you go to the website ripple.com, they are the company behind XRP, or I can even say XLM as well. So these two. This is not a financial advice. Obviously, as I said at the beginning, this is purely my ideas and my opinion. But if I could give you an idea, no, I just say it. If I had Bitcoin, I would definitely sell them all, and I would recommend to buy these ones and some others as well. As I said, I don't go into details, but if you Google, for example, which crypto will explode in 2023, you're more likely, or most likely, let's just Google it quickly. You know what? Let's just Google it during the live. So just very quickly, which crypto will explode in 2023? And I can't show you, but there you go. Very first result for that. Top 3, and XRP, it's here. one of them. And then second link, let's see quickly. Top 2023. XRP, there you go. This one mentions Bitcoin as well, but doesn't matter. So go ahead, do your own research about which crypto will explode in 2023, and you will probably see it. I would say that's XRP, and I have some, and I'm intended to have some more, and definitely not Bitcoin. Maybe I will be wrong. As I said, these are my predictions. This is my video, so I can say anything I like, but you know, if you followed me for the last 2 years, and I'm really not here to show off, guys, but you've probably seen what I said and how many times there was kind of spoiler alert, something happened later, or we said, or whatever it was called, conspiracy theory. A few months later it became reality, and I posted a long post. It was at the end of 2020 or the very beginning of 2021, I can't remember, where I mentioned all these things, including China and Ukraine, including Russia, including the nuclear stuff, blackouts, all those things, and the truth about, you know, child sex trafficking, pedophilia, all that stuff. I don't even go into details. These are very sad things, very bad stories, and kind of negative stuff, but I would say that, you know, don't go into details very deeply. If you do your own research, or if you did already, you know what I'm talking about. Just be aware of it, and then you can get prepared for what's coming. But as I said many times, we will discuss it with more details. So this is about crypto, and then some other stuff. I just put everything here together, like AI, metaverse, and all the rest, like, you know, microchips. I just put here microchips. I just put these into one category. I don't know how many people who laughed about it, like, oh yeah, definitely Bill Gates want to put a microchip inside of me with the vaccine, ha 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 ha. I don't know how many of them are laughing now when it becomes reality that they talk about microchips, and then plant it here and plant it there, and it's actually reality in Sweden, I think. Sweden or Finland, one of the Scandinavian, probably Sweden. And, you know, they will want to sell it to you like, oh, it's so easy, it's not painful, it's just a very small thing, they put it underneath your skin, and then you can use it for payments and opening your car, and just makes life much better. It's already happening, AI is taking over. My idea is very simple: do not participate at all. The metaverse is, you know, this virtual reality. You put these goggles on or glasses, whatever, and it's just more and more division and loneliness and sadness, all that stuff. So I'm highly against it, but I know there will be people, there will be a lot of people who will love this stuff. I mean, think about AI, it's part of our life already. Anyway, the algorithms, the Googles, the YouTubes, all of that, your smartphone, or you think about your Apple Watch, you think about your Alexa, that's all AI. And especially Apple Watch and Alexa, they are kind of surveillance systems as well, because they have microphones and cameras. But yeah, that's another story. So the artificial intelligence and even the human 2.0, like bio android humans or whatever. I don't know what's gonna happen with this one. As my friend said, just with a simple explanation, he said just simply zombie apocalypse. I don't know, guys, but I think it will happen and we will see it. I will definitely stay away from that, but yeah, it's just something to mention. And the next one, number 11, is I just put together arrests and justice, and I put here Nuremberg as well. I don't know how to write it. Nuremberg, maybe this. So arrests, I already mentioned, some bad guys will be arrested and you will hear about it. Actually, there are tens of thousands of people already arrested, just the media doesn't say anything about that. When I say justice, I mean fair and just like that. I mean real justice, not with, you know, paid judges or like corrupt system or whatever, real justice. And Nuremberg 2.0, well, it's not really a number 2, but yeah, Nuremberg 2.0 is already happening, regarding the entire crimes against humanity that's happened in the last 2 years. That's all I'm saying. If you haven't heard about it yet, you will. I just posted in my stories yesterday or maybe today that Robert Kennedy Jr. just won a court case against some pharmaceutical companies regarding the vaccines. So that's pretty good that he won the case because he proved that these are not very good, let's put it that way. Anyway, so yeah, justice, arrests everywhere in the world, I expected. And then number 12 is what I just said, that truth in media will come out. So media will start to talk about the truth, which they already do, by the way, because they start mentioning a couple of things, but I expect it to explode to 100%, and also I expect fake news disappear. So I wouldn't be surprised if like CNN and BBC and you know whatever is a fake news channel or radio or newspaper, whatever, I would expect that they will either disappear or they will be forced to start speaking the truth instead of their lies and propaganda and all those things that we don't need at all. But we'll see what happens. And then number 13, which is basically the matrix will collapse. It already does, by the way. That's why it's a good news. That's why I say that we don't need to panic, because the whole thing here, if you see all this picture, if you everything I mentioned so far, recent news and how can we predict and all that stuff, it's all about destroying the matrix, which is a good thing for us, because the matrix is not a good thing. So wake up, Neo, and listen to more, folks. So matrix collapse, and I've just put here cabal collapse as well, or cabal game over. Yeah, let's put game over. And yeah, cabal, deep state, Illuminati, shadow government, I don't mind whatever you call it, the 1%, which I mentioned in my videos, how the 1% can control the world, part 1 and 2. It's not really even 1%, they are less than that, but yeah, they have the puppets, and yeah, which is also not a big number, because we are still the huge majority, 99%, but this is a good thing here, that this will happen very soon as well, and that's the whole point of everything. And yeah, and then number 14, I know I said 15 I think at the beginning, but there was a couple of them which I didn't write down, I just mentioned. So number 14 is the Great Awakening. And this is what's already happening everywhere worldwide. More and more people, I think we are already at like half, like half of the people are sleeping, half of them are already awake, or something like that. I'm not too sure what the real number is, but it's definitely growing. And what is the Great Awakening really? What does it really mean to be awake and be aware? And what is not the Great Awakening? Who are the people who claim that they are awake but they are actually not? And what is this all about? Is this a good thing? This is all we have to talk about in much more detail, so that will be part 2. This is why I said that I'd like to put this into more episodes. So this was part 1, the storm, because the storm is here and we need to get prepared. But we will talk about some good news and some solutions and some interesting stuff in the next episode, in the next part. So that's the same title, Predictions for the Rest of 2022, part 2, The Great Awakening. If you are watching this live, then it will be tomorrow, 9 p.m. UK time. And if you watch this on replay, if you watch this on YouTube or on Bitchute, then it will be probably around this video somewhere, or around this link. Just check out the profile. It will come with the same thumbnail, says part 2. So it will be really easy to find it. Anyway, so for tonight, I hope you got some value, and I hope there is at least one person who I could help with my ideas, at least a little bit, or give some good information that will help you going forward. And if that's the case, feel free to let me know, feel free to message me, share this video if you want, or as I said, check out my YouTube and Bitchute channels. It's called Mystery Teachings. If you search it on YouTube, it's Mystery Teachings with Gergő. It's easier to find it, but wherever you watch this video, you can find those video links somewhere around this video or on my profile. So check it out, and if you like my videos, then make sure you hit the subscribe button so you will get notified whenever I upload a new video. So for tonight, these are my predictions, and thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video where we will discuss solutions and the entire Great Awakening stuff. That will be part 2, but for tonight, thanks for being with me, thanks for watching me. I love you all, I appreciate each and every one of you, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care, bye bye.